The night sky over Earth looked peaceful, but in the dark silence above, something strange was happening. A signal, weak but sharp, crossed the edge of the solar system. It came from far away, far beyond anything human telescopes had ever seen. The message wasn't from Earth, but it was headed there. In a small observatory in Chile, Dr. Aidan Cross watched the data scroll on his screen. His coffee went cold as the computer beeped again and again. The signal repeated every 12 seconds, and every time, it grew stronger. It wasn't random. It wasn't noise. It was a pattern. He leaned closer, whispering to himself, "It's talking." He didn't know that miles above his head, something already listened back. A black shape, like a shadow with engines, drifted past the moon. No human radar caught it. No satellite saw it. It was a scout ship, smaller than a jet but older than anything made on Earth. Inside it, creatures with silver skin and glowing eyes spoke in clicks and tones. Their leader Var looked at the hologram of Earth turning slowly before him. "Primitive," he said in a cold voice. "Yet, the energy readings are higher than expected." Another alien, smaller and nervous, replied, "Should we alert the fleet?" Var smiled with thin metallic lips. "No. Let us play first." Down on Earth, Aidan reported his discovery. NASA listened. Governments held emergency calls. But most people didn't believe it. The world had seen too many fake UFO videos, too many false alarms. The public moved on. But Aidan couldn't. Something about that signal, it didn't feel like a message to Earth. It felt like a warning. 3 days later, strange things began to happen. A satellite near Mars stopped responding. Then another near Jupiter. A military radar in Alaska showed objects moving faster than anything known to man. At first, they thought it was a glitch. It wasn't. Late one night, Aidan sat in his lab, reviewing the signal's pulse pattern. Suddenly, the screen flickered. For a second, it wasn't just code anymore. Words appeared in English letters, rough and uneven, as if translated by a machine. "You are not ready." He froze. "What? Who are you?" The words changed. "We are coming." Before he could react, the lights went out. Every monitor in the lab went black. Outside, the entire town lost power. Even cell phones went dead. He ran to the window, heart pounding. Then he saw it. Far away, above the horizon, something glowed, a light too bright to be a star, moving fast, leaving a burning line across the sky. Aidan grabbed his camera, hands shaking. The light grew larger, closer, until it vanished behind the mountains with a deep, distant boom. The ground trembled. News spread within hours. "A meteor crash," they said. "Nothing to worry about." But Aidan knew better. That wasn't a meteor. It had slowed down before hitting. Someone had landed. The crash site was sealed by the military before morning. No photos leaked. Reporters were pushed back. But people in nearby villages talked about strange lights, burning trees, and a sound like metal breathing. Aidan couldn't stop thinking about it. He packed his car, drove across the desert, and followed the blocked roads. At night, he parked his car far from the site and climbed a hill. From there, he saw it with his own eyes. There was a crater, but not a normal one. In the middle stood something half-buried, a dark, curved shape, smooth as glass, steaming under the moonlight. Around it, soldiers moved with flashlights. Then one of the shapes moved on its own. A soldier shouted, and guns pointed forward. The dark shape opened like a flower. A blinding blue light flashed, and everyone fell to the ground. Aidan's camera fell from his hand. His mouth went dry. Inside the light, tall figures stepped out, thin, metallic, shining like mirrors. They didn't walk, they glided. Their heads turned slowly toward the soldiers. Then one raised its hand. In a blink, every gun melted. No sound. No explosion. Just heat. Aidan backed away, heart racing. He knew what this meant. Earth wasn't alone anymore, and it wasn't in control. As the aliens looked up toward the stars, one of them spoke in a low, calm voice. It wasn't English, but somehow, Aiden understood the feeling behind it. This world will fall easily. But Var, the leader, tilted his head. Perhaps not as easily as you think. Somewhere deep in the ship, a new signal activated. It sent a message across the galaxy. Not a warning, not a threat, but a challenge. And that was the moment the humans' fight for survival began. Earth looked weak. But soon, the aliens would find out the hard way, that it wasn't. The next morning, the crash site was gone. Not covered, gone. The crater had vanished, as if the ground had never been touched. Military reports said it was an equipment test gone wrong. But those who lived nearby whispered of soldiers missing, their trucks left empty, their radios still warm. Dr. Aiden Cross didn't believe the official story. He had seen it with his own eyes, the light, the heat, the figures. And he had one proof no one else did, his camera. When he turned it on, the screen showed static, then a single image, blurred but clear enough to freeze his blood. 3 tall shapes, glowing faintly blue, standing in the dust. He uploaded it to his computer, zoomed in, and saw something stranger. Behind them, the air itself seemed to twist. Like the world didn't want to show what was really there. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. Hello. A calm voice spoke. Dr. Cross. We need to talk. Aiden's eyes widened. Who is this? You already know who we are, the voice said. Meet us at the southern ridge in 1 hour. Come alone. Before he could reply, the call ended. He looked at his camera again, and noticed something new. On the corner of the screen, a symbol had appeared, 3 circles connected by a single line. It wasn't part of the image. It was glowing, moving. He didn't know it yet, but that symbol was not from Earth. The southern ridge was silent, except for the wind. Rocks stretched out to the horizon, and the ground smelled of burnt metal. Aiden parked his car and stepped out, scanning the empty desert. Dr. Cross. The voice came from behind him. He turned sharply. A woman stood there, black tactical suit, no insignia, short hair, and sharp eyes. She wasn't military. At least, not normal military. Who are you? He asked. Agent Marlowe, she said. Global Defense Division. I didn't know that existed. It doesn't, she replied simply. You saw something you shouldn't have. I saw the truth, Aiden shot back. And I'm not the only one. She didn't smile. You think you understand what's happening, Doctor. You don't. The object wasn't a meteor. It was a vessel. And it's not the only one coming. His stomach tightened. You mean, invasion? She didn't answer directly. Instead, she handed him a small metal device, shaped like a coin. If you want to live, keep this with you. When it vibrates, run. Don't look back. Before he could ask, she turned away. We'll contact you when we can. Until then, trust no one. Aiden called out. Wait. Who are they? What do they want? She paused, her back still turned. They don't want your planet, Doctor. They want your species, extinct. Hundreds of miles away, far above Earth's orbit, the alien scout ship hovered in silence. Inside, Commander Var observed Earth's defense grids, satellites, radio towers, military channels, all flashing across his holographic display. Pathetic, one of his crew hissed. They fight each other more than they prepare for us. Do not underestimate them, Var replied. His voice was low but filled with something strange, curiosity. They've survived extinction before. Fire, ice, war, plague. Their weakness hides their danger. The smaller alien, Kareth, tilted his head. Then why not strike now? Var looked out the window. The blue planet floated peacefully below. Because I want to see what they do when the sky falls. He turned to the controls and pressed his clawed finger against a red crystal. Far below, in the quiet forests of Canada, something deep underground began to move. metal grinding, dirt falling. A sleeping machine awakened after thousands of years. It wasn't alien. It was human. That night, Aiden couldn't sleep. He replayed the video over and over. The symbol glowed brighter every time. His computer fan whirred loudly, then stopped. The screen flickered again, and words appeared, just like before. "We are here." He backed away. No. Not again. The lights dimmed, and the air around him felt heavy, like gravity had thickened. Outside his window, he saw a shape, tall, thin, motionless, watching him from the street. Its eyes glowed blue. Aiden froze. He couldn't breathe. Then, in a blink, the creature vanished. Moments later, the coin Agent Marlowe had given him began to vibrate. He grabbed his bag and ran outside. The ground trembled beneath his feet. Somewhere far behind him, a flash of white light erupted, silent but blinding. He dove behind his car just as a shockwave hit. When the dust cleared, his house was gone, nothing left but glass and ash. He coughed, staring in disbelief. Then a sound came from the destroyed street. Footsteps. Not human ones. Soft. Rhythmic. He turned slowly. The alien stood before him, close enough for him to see its skin ripple like liquid metal. It tilted its head and spoke in a distorted tone that bent through the air like broken radio waves. "Human, you. Adapt fast." Aiden trembled. "What do you want?" The creature's mouth curved, almost into a smile. "We study. We test." Then its eyes changed color, from blue to red, and its body began to shift, reshaping itself into him. Within seconds, he was staring at his own face. "Let's see," the alien said in a perfect copy of his voice, "if your world can survive itself." It turned and walked into the night, leaving Aiden staring after it, terrified. Above him, hidden among the stars, the alien fleet began to arrive, one by one, like shadows covering the sky. And for the first time in history, Earth wasn't alone. It was being hunted. The morning after the explosion, the city of Denver woke up to quiet. Too quiet. Phones were dead. Internet, gone. Every screen showed the same message, signal lost. People filled the streets, confused and afraid. They looked up, and saw something that made their blood run cold. High above the clouds, a huge shape moved slowly across the sky. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a satellite. It was watching. Dr. Aiden Cross sat in a bus shelter, covered in dust, his hands shaking. His home was gone. His research, gone. But he was alive. The metal coin Agent Marlowe had given him now glowed faintly blue. Aiden looked up at the massive shadow above the city. It stretched from horizon to horizon, blocking the sun. The world stared, breathless. Then the shadow spoke. Not in sound, but in vibration. Every window, every phone, every car engine hummed the same low tone. People clutched their ears. Dogs barked wildly. And across every dead screen, new words appeared. Silence. Do not resist. Panic spread fast. Military jets took off. Tanks rolled through the streets. But the moment a jet fired a missile, the sky lit up, and the aircraft simply disintegrated. No fire. No debris. Just dust. Aiden watched in horror. They're disabling everything. Then he heard footsteps. Turning, he saw Agent Marlowe approaching, her face tense, eyes scanning the sky. "You're alive," she said. "Barely," he replied. "What's happening?" "They call it a harvest," she said quietly. "They do it on every planet they conquer. They silence the cities first, then they take what they want." "What do they want from us?" Aiden asked. Marlowe looked at him. "They don't want your land or gold, Doctor. They want your DNA." Miles above, inside the lead alien ship, Commander Var stood before a giant transparent screen showing Earth's surface. Small red dots marked every major city. The harvest program was ready. Kareth, the smaller alien, approached. The humans scatter like insects. Their defense systems are nothing. Var didn't answer. He stared at one red that blinked differently from the rest. Denver. What's that? He asked. Interference, Kareth said. Unknown source. Var tilted his head. Locate it. A moment later, the screen zoomed in, on Aiden and Marlowe standing in the empty street, the coin in Aiden's hand shining bright blue. Interesting, Var whispered. They found the key. Marlowe guided Aiden through back alleys. We have to reach the bunker before they track us. There's still one facility working underground, Project Helios. Project what? Aiden asked. Something your own people built in secret, long ago, she said. After the Roswell crash, governments discovered fragments of alien tech. They tried to reverse engineer it. Most of it failed. But one thing worked, a weapon powered by the planet itself. Aiden frowned. If that's true, why haven't they used it? She gave a short, bitter laugh. Because humans never thought they'd need it. They reached an abandoned subway entrance. Marlowe tapped a hidden panel on the wall. It scanned her hand and opened a steel door. Welcome to the last line of defense, she said. Inside, dozens of people worked in dim light. Scientists, soldiers, engineers. Monitors glowed with maps of the world, each showing the same terrifying data. Alien ships multiplying across the sky. Aiden looked around in awe. You built all this underground? We didn't, Marlowe said. Your ancestors started it 50 years ago. We just kept it running. A tall officer approached. Agent Marlowe. You brought him. Yes, she said. Dr. Cross is the only one who received the signal before the invasion. He's connected to them somehow. The officer looked at Aiden sharply. Connected how? I don't know, Aiden said. But they keep sending me messages, and that symbol keeps appearing. He showed them the image from his camera, the 3 circles connected by a line. The officer stared. That's not alien. That's ours. Everyone turned to him. What do you mean? Marlowe asked. He opened a drawer and pulled out an old, cracked notebook. Inside was the same symbol, drawn decades earlier. This mark was found on the first crashed ship in 1947. The scientists called it Origin. It wasn't alien, it was human technology, sent into space centuries ago. Aiden's mind spun. You're saying, humans sent something first? The officer nodded slowly. And now, whatever we sent, has come back. Far above, Var studied human transmissions. His claws tapped against the console. They remember the origin, he murmured. Kareth looked uneasy. Should we destroy them before they awaken it? Var's glowing eyes narrowed. No. Let them try. I wish to see what the first humans built, before they were afraid. He turned to the stars. The harvest countdown began, 12 hours until total silence across the planet. Deep underground, Aiden stood before a giant metal door. Behind it, Project Helios waited, locked for 70 years. He placed the glowing coin on the scanner. The door rumbled, dust falling from the ceiling. Everyone stepped back as it opened with a slow hiss. Inside was a huge chamber, and at its center stood something breathtaking. A machine taller than a skyscraper, shaped like a spear made of light and steel. It pulsed once, softly. Then a voice echoed from everywhere at once. Identity confirmed. Human prototype detected. Aiden Cross. Access granted. Marlowe's eyes widened. How does it know your name? Aiden stepped forward, his voice shaking. Because, my grandfather worked here. The machine hummed louder. Lines of light raced across its body like veins. And above the bunker, the alien ships turned sharply toward the city. They had found him. Var smiled inside his ship. So, he whispered. The humans still have teeth. He raised his hand. Prepare the strike. And just as the alien fleet descended through the clouds, Project Helios opened its core. A light so bright it cut through the storm and reached the heavens. Earth had just answered back. The ground shook as the giant machine came alive. Metal panels unfolded like wings, glowing lines of light running across its surface. The bunker filled with a deep hum that made everyone's chest vibrate. Aiden Cross stared in awe. It's waking up. Agent Marlowe stepped closer, shielding her eyes from the brightness. I've never seen energy like this. It's pulling power from the Earth's core. The officer beside them shouted, radiation levels rising. We need to stabilize it. Aiden didn't move. His heart raced, but something inside him felt familiar. The machine's light pulsed in rhythm with his heartbeat. The voice came again, calm but powerful. Hello, Aiden Cross. You carry the code. Everyone froze. The code? Marlowe asked. What code? Aiden whispered. I don't know. The voice continued. Genetic marker identified. Activation sequence authorized. Symbols flashed on the control panels. The 3 circles appeared again, the same mark from Aiden's camera. Stop it! Marlowe yelled. We don't know what it's doing. But it was too late. The entire bunker trembled as Helios released a wave of golden light that shot upward through solid rock, piercing the surface, blasting straight into the sky. Above the clouds, alien ships halted mid-flight. Their scanners went blind. Their weapons froze. Commander Var stood on his command deck, staring at the blinding beam rising from the planet below. Kareth shouted, Energy spike from surface. Unknown origin. Var narrowed his glowing eyes. Origin. Helios. The beam hit one of the alien ships. The metal skin cracked, glowing white, and the massive craft disintegrated into dust. The others pulled back instantly. Impossible, Kareth whispered. Primitive worlds cannot create weapons of light. Var's tone darkened. This world is not primitive. It remembers. He turned to his crew. Prepare countermeasure. The humans have just declared war. Back underground, the light faded slowly. The bunker was half destroyed, but everyone was alive. The huge machine stood silent again, smoke rising from its vents. Aiden looked at the glowing platform before him. In the center, something small hovered, a metallic cube, floating in the air. He reached out. The cube floated toward him and stopped an inch from his hand. Transfer complete, the voice said. Heliocore linked to human host. Aiden gasped. The cube dissolved into a stream of light and entered his chest. His vision blurred. His veins glowed faintly for a moment and then dimmed. What did it do to you? Marlowe asked, stepping back. I don't know, he said softly. But I can feel them. He looked upward. Even through solid rock, he could sense the alien ships moving, like ripples in the air. Marlowe stared at him. You're connected to their network? He nodded slowly. I think Helios merged me with it. I can hear them. Talking. What are they saying? He took a shaky breath. They're afraid. Far above, Var's fleet circled the beam site. Their weapon is tied to one human, Kareth reported. We detect a new signal pattern, identical to our own communication code. Var turned his gaze toward the blue planet. Then the human must be found. Alive. He extended his arm, and the hologram showed Earth's map. Deploy hunters. I want him brought before me. Back in the bunker, alarms screamed again. The officer yelled, multiple signatures approaching. They're coming underground. Aiden closed his eyes, focusing. They've sent drones. 4 of them. No, 5. Moving fast. How do you know that? Marlowe asked. I told you, he said quietly. I can hear them. A moment later, the ceiling exploded. Metal shards rained down as black alien drones dropped through the smoke, tall, insect-like, moving with deadly grace. Soldiers opened fire, but the bullets passed through shimmering shields. The drones replied with blue energy bursts that melted steel. Marlowe pulled Aiden behind cover. We can't fight them here. He glanced at the glowing console. We don't need to. He slammed his hand onto the control panel. Instantly, the Helios core pulsed again. The drones froze mid-attack, their limbs twitching violently. What's happening? Marlowe shouted. I'm taking control. The machines turned their heads toward him, their blue eyes flickering yellow, then white. Slowly, they stepped back and lowered their weapons. Marlowe stared. You reprogrammed them? Aiden shook his head. No. They listened. He stood, breathing hard. They were made from the same tech as Helios. It recognizes them as part of me now. The officer said in disbelief, You're commanding alien drones? Aiden didn't answer. He looked toward the surface. Not just drones. I can sense more, above. He touched the side of his head, concentrating. For a moment, his vision flashed, and he saw through the eyes of one of the alien ships in orbit. He could see Earth below, shining blue and alive. And in the distance, hundreds of ships gathering, a storm of metal. He opened his eyes. They're sending the main fleet. Marlowe clenched her fists. Then we strike first. She turned to the soldiers. Prepare evacuation of civilians. Move every working transport underground. We'll fight from the shadows if we must. Aiden looked at the glowing spear of Helios. No. We fight from the light. He placed his hand on the core. It responded instantly, light wrapping around his arm like living energy. Helios, he said firmly. Link to global grid. Link established, the voice replied. Defense protocol, humanity. From deep within the Earth, thousands of dormant machines began to wake. Old satellites, power stations, ancient bunkers long forgotten, all lighting up one by one. Marlowe stared in wonder. What are you doing? Aiden looked at her with a faint, determined smile. Giving Earth a fighting chance. In orbit, Var watched as the entire planet below began to glow faintly with golden light, spreading from continent to continent. Kareth whispered, They're activating something global. Var's voice was quiet, but his expression hardened. So be it. The humans have chosen their path. He raised his hand. Prepare for total invasion. Outside, the alien armada aligned into perfect formation, blocking out the stars. And as lightning from Helios met the black fire of the alien fleet, the battle for Earth began. Above the planet, the sky burned. The alien fleet moved in perfect formation, thousands of ships, black and silent, spreading like wings across the stars. Their energy weapons glowed red, charging for the first strike. Below, Earth was ready. Every mountain, every ocean, every city that still had power began to shine with the light of Helios. Old satellites woke from decades of silence. Submarines deep under the sea powered up. Hidden bunkers opened like sleeping giants. Aiden Cross stood in the center of the bunker, surrounded by glowing screens showing the world's chaos. His eyes glowed faint gold now, faint but fierce. Agent Marlowe looked at him. You've connected to everything, haven't you? Aiden nodded. Every power grid, every satellite. Helios built it all, long before I was born. The officer nearby shouted. Incoming fire. Multiple energy beams from orbit. Outside, the first alien strike hit the surface, a massive blast that tore through the clouds. But just before it reached the ground, a golden shield appeared over the city. The energy shattered like glass on stone. Aiden whispered. Helios, defend. All around the planet, light spread. Golden domes rose over cities, protecting them from destruction. Marlowe stared at the display in shock. You did it. You're controlling Earth's defense grid. But Aiden shook his head. No. We're controlling it. Helios reacts to human will, every heartbeat, every pulse. It listens to our hope. He closed his eyes, hearing distant echoes, not of machines, but of voices. Millions of them. People praying, crying, shouting. Human will was feeding the machine. Far above, Commander Var watched as every blast from his fleet failed to break through. His eyes glowed brighter. Adapt, he ordered. Target the source of energy. Destroy the beam origin. Kareth hesitated. Commander, what if the energy is not machine-based? What if it's... Enough, Var snapped. No species defies the Dominion. The fleet reformed, changing strategy. Thousands of smaller crafts split away and dove toward Earth like falling stars. In the skies above Europe, the air screamed. The alien drones fell like meteors, striking the ground and rising from fire. Metallic soldiers with living armor. Tanks opened fire. Fighter jets engaged. But every time a human weapon hit, the aliens adapted, reshaping their metal skin to block the next shot. The world was burning again. In the bunker, Marlowe shouted, they're hitting multiple continents. We can't protect everyone. Aiden gritted his teeth. We don't have to protect everyone. We have to awaken everyone. He pressed his palm to the control panel. Helio-link expansion, authorized. A pulse of golden light spread across the planet again, brighter this time. Every human wearing a digital device, a phone, a headset, even an old radio, suddenly felt a spark of energy through it. The voice of Helios echoed in their minds. Humans of Earth. The darkness comes. Stand together. All over the world, people stopped running. Soldiers, engineers, doctors, children, all looked up at the sky. And something incredible happened. As the light of Helios touched them, human machines began to change. Old jets glowed gold and flew faster. Tanks repaired themselves with living light. Even broken drones rebooted, their systems merging with Helios energy. The planet itself was fighting back. Var's fleet faced resistance they had never seen. Every destroyed drone returned stronger, every weapon grew smarter. He hissed in frustration. Their evolution speed is unnatural. Kareth trembled. Commander, I think Helios is rewriting them at a genetic level. The humans are becoming something else. Var stared at the screen. Then we end it now. He turned to the console and activated a massive black sphere behind the fleet, a planet breaker weapon. Its surface cracked with red light as energy gathered inside it. Kareth looked horrified. That weapon will destroy everything, even the resources we came for. Var's voice turned cold. If I cannot rule the species, I will erase it. Back on Earth, Aiden felt the surge. He saw the weapon through the network, a burning red sun forming in orbit. He whispered, they're going to wipe us out. Marlowe grabbed his arm. Then stop them. I can't, he said. Not from here. The connection isn't strong enough. She stared at him. Then we go to them. Aiden looked at her, stunned. You mean, into orbit? Yes, she said fiercely. If Helios can move energy, it can move us too. We take the fight to the sky. The officer turned, shocked. That's suicide. Aiden shook his head. No. That's humanity. He touched the Helios core. The light expanded again, wrapping around him and Marlowe like fire. Transport initiated, said the voice of Helios. In a flash of gold, they vanished. They appeared above the atmosphere, floating in the silence of space, surrounded by burning debris and stars. Before them stretched the alien armada. Endless, terrible, beautiful. Var turned sharply as a new light appeared before his ship, a sphere of gold. From it stepped Aiden and Marlowe, standing on a platform of light, surrounded by the energy of Helios. Kareth gasped. A human in space. Alive? Var smiled darkly. Impressive. Come then, child of Earth. Show me your strength. Aiden's eyes glowed bright gold. You want to test humanity? Fine. Here we are. He raised his hand. Behind him, 1,000 satellites came alive, glowing like a second constellation. They aligned, forming a golden pattern that spread across space. Marlowe shouted, "Helios shield, activate!" The entire planet below was wrapped in a golden ring, a defense barrier made of pure light. Var's fleet fired. The planet breaker roared. The stars turned red. And Aiden whispered the words that echoed through every human mind on Earth. "We are not weak. We never were." He unleashed the full power of Helios. A wave of light exploded across space, tearing through the alien fleet, breaking their ships apart like dust in the wind. The planet breaker shattered into 1,000 pieces, burning in silence. The golden light faded. For the first time, the sky above Earth was empty. But it wasn't over yet. Because deep in the darkness, one ship still moved, the command vessel. And inside, Commander Var still stood. He looked at the fading light and whispered, "Interesting. The humans learned to fight. Now let's see if they can survive." Space was silent again. The alien fleet was gone, torn apart by the light of Helios. But one ship still moved through the shadows, huge and black, its hull cracked yet alive. Inside stood Commander Var, his silver skin dim, his glowing eyes fixed on the blue planet below. "They think they've won," he murmured. Kareth limped to his side, circuits sparking. "Our weapons are gone, Commander. The fleet is finished. We must retreat." Var turned his head slowly. "No. Not until I see what they really are." He pressed his claw to the console. The ship changed course, descending toward Earth. Far below, Aiden Cross and Agent Marlowe landed on the surface again, the Helios light fading around them. They stood in the ruins of the bunker, smoke curling into the sky. Marlowe gasped, looking at him. "You did it. You saved us." Aiden shook his head. "No. He's still out there." He could feel Var, a cold pulse in the back of his mind, moving closer. "Helios gave me the link," he said quietly. "And that link goes both ways." The ground rumbled. Clouds twisted as something massive entered the atmosphere. The alien command ship crashed through the air like a falling moon and struck the desert miles away, throwing waves of dust and fire. Marlowe turned to Aiden. "Then let's finish this." They reached the crash site before dawn. The alien ship lay half buried in rock, molten metal dripping from its sides. Its hull pulsed with red veins, still alive. Inside, corridors flickered with dying lights. Alien symbols glowed faintly on the walls, telling stories older than Earth itself. Aiden walked ahead, drawn by something deeper than fear. His body still glowed softly from Helios energy. At the ship's core, Var waited. He stood in front of a dark orb floating above the floor, the same red technology that powered the fleet. "I was right about you," Var said, his voice echoing. "You are not ordinary human." Aiden's hand tightened. "And you're not here to conquer us. You're here to erase us." Var smiled thinly. "Erase? No. I came to correct a mistake." He gestured to the orb, and it displayed a vision, ancient Earth, thousands of years before recorded history. Tall, shining figures walked among primitive humans, teaching them, altering them. Marlowe whispered, Those are aliens." Var turned to her. "Not aliens. Prototypes. We made you." Aiden froze. "That's not true. Your species was part of our experiment," Var continued calmly. "We seeded life on thousands of worlds. Most failed. But your kind changed." He stepped closer, eyes glowing red. "You were supposed to remain primitive, obedient. Instead, you grew unpredictable, violent, emotional, creative. You built weapons from nothing. You turned chaos into power. You are a virus, Dr. Cross, and viruses must be contained." Aiden's heart pounded. "If that's true, then why destroy us now?" "Because you remembered Helios," Var said. "It was meant to stay buried, an echo of our technology left behind. But your ancestors found it and changed it. You gave it a soul." He pointed at Aiden. And now that soul lives inside you. The red orb pulsed faster, feeding on his anger. Join me, Aiden. Together, we could rebuild your kind, perfect, controlled, pure. Aiden stared at him for a long moment, then smiled faintly. You still don't understand humans. He spread his hands, light rising from his veins. We don't want to be perfect. The floor shook as the Helios energy burst out of him, golden and alive. The orb cracked, spilling red fire. Var roared, raising his hand. His armor shifted into blades of pure energy. He struck, faster than sight. Aiden caught the blow with his bare hands. The impact sent shockwaves through the ship. Marlowe was thrown backward, shouting, Aiden! Light and darkness clashed, red and gold colliding like thunder. Var hissed, You cannot win. Your body will break. Aiden gritted his teeth. Maybe. But I'm not fighting alone. The ground under them glowed as Helios responded. All across the planet, dormant energy sources awakened again. Old machines, satellites, and reactors. Their combined power surged into Aiden. His eyes blazed white. Var stepped back. Impossible. Aiden raised his hand, voice steady. This is humanity, every voice, every life, every spark. You wanted to see what we are? Look. He released the energy. The golden light exploded outward, filling every corner of the alien ship, burning through metal and shadow alike. Var screamed as his armor shattered. No. You will destroy everything. Aiden whispered. Not everything. Just the chains. The red orb split in two, its light dying. Var fell to his knees, his body flickering between solid and dust. You were never our gods, Aiden said quietly. You were just the first to fall. Var looked up one last time, almost smiling. Then perhaps, the universe deserves you. And he was gone, scattered like ash in sunlight. The ship began to collapse. Marlowe ran toward Aiden. We have to go. He reached out to her, pulling her close as the Helios light wrapped around them both. Outside, the alien craft exploded in a storm of light, red fading into gold, vanishing into the dawn. When the dust settled, the desert was quiet again. Marlowe opened her eyes, coughing. You did it. It's over. Aiden looked up at the sunrise. No. It's just beginning. He could still feel the energy of Helios inside him, and something else. A signal. Weak. Far away. Coming from the stars. New coordinates detected, whispered Helios in his mind. Other seeds. Activated. Marlowe frowned. What does that mean? Aiden stared at the sky, his eyes glowing faintly. It means, we weren't their only experiment. The wind carried the sound of thunder across the horizon. Earth was safe, for now. But somewhere out there, another world had just awakened. And the fight for humanity's future was far from over. The sky above Earth had never looked so quiet. For the first time in weeks, no alien ships, no fire, no smoke, only stars. But Aiden Cross knew silence could lie. He stood on the ridge where it all began, the same desert where the first ship fell. Agent Marlowe joined him, her uniform torn, eyes tired. They'll come back, she said softly. Aiden nodded. Not them, someone worse. The Helios mark still glowed faintly on his chest, pulsing like a heartbeat. It wasn't just power now, it was a doorway. That night, in the quiet base below the ridge, Aiden stared at a small console connected to the last surviving alien device. Its surface shimmered, showing new coordinates, deep in the Orion sector. He whispered, That's where the others are. Marlowe frowned. You can't go alone. I have to, he replied. If they made us once, they can make more. And next time, they might not stop at one world. She looked away, fighting emotion. You might not come back. He smiled faintly. That's the human way. We walk into the dark, hoping to bring light. The next day, the world watched as the Exodus 1 launched, the first human ship powered by Helios energy. It wasn't sleek or beautiful. It looked patched together, born from desperation and courage. But it was alive. Aiden sat in the cockpit, the stars ahead like scattered fire. Through the calm, Marlowe's voice came one last time. If you find them, what will you do? Aiden stared into the void. I'll remind them what they created, and what they can never control. The engines roared, and Earth grew small behind him. Weeks passed in deep space. The farther he traveled, the stronger the signal became, rhythmic, ancient, almost like a heartbeat calling him home. Helios spoke inside his mind now, calm and endless. Destination near. Energy source, not hostile, but familiar. Aiden frowned. Familiar how? It carries human code. He slowed the ship, staring ahead. Through the black clouds of a dying star system, a shape emerged, a colossal structure floating above a cracked planet. It wasn't alien. It was half mechanical, half organic. And in the center, lights pulsed in patterns identical to human DNA. He whispered, "My God, they made another Earth." He landed near the surface. The ground was red glass, and the sky burned like fire. But the air was breathable, and filled with distant voices. Then he saw them, tall figures, glowing faintly gold, walking in silence. They looked human, almost. But their eyes were like Helios, bright, endless, artificial. One of them turned toward him. "You are from the origin world," it said in a voice that was both human and machine. Aiden nodded slowly. "I'm from Earth." "Who are you?" The being tilted its head. "We are the next. The ones who succeeded where you failed." "Failed?" Aiden echoed. "You fight. You destroy. You resist your creators. We learned obedience. We are peace." Aiden felt anger rise. Peace without freedom is a cage. The being stepped closer, curious. "Freedom makes chaos. Chaos ends worlds. Why do you protect it?" Aiden looked up at the burning sky. "Because chaos makes us alive." The ground trembled suddenly, a deep hum rising beneath their feet. Helios spoke urgently in his mind. "Warning. Planet core, unstable. Signal collapsing." Aiden looked around. The great structure above began to crack. The next didn't move, they simply stared upward, calm, waiting. He realized the truth. They weren't alive. They were controlled. The same red energy that powered the alien fleet pulsed inside them. The creators were still here, hiding inside their machines. A voice boomed across the sky, low, godlike. "Human, you were meant to end. Yet you persist." Aiden shouted into the wind. "We weren't made to end. We were made to evolve." He grabbed the Helios core from his chest. Its light flickered wildly, as if alive. "If I can't save you," he whispered, "then I'll save who comes next." He pressed the core into the ground. The planet shook violently. Golden light spread out like waves, touching everything, sky, soil, the silent faces of the next. The voice roared, "You will destroy both worlds." Aiden smiled faintly. "Maybe. But at least they'll be free." The light consumed everything. Hours later, in the dark emptiness of space, a small transmission left the dying system, weak, but clear. It reached Earth weeks later, where Marlowe received it in a silent command room. She pressed play. Aiden's voice filled the room. "If you're hearing this, it means I found them. They weren't gods. Just children playing with fire. We are the flame now. Don't fear the dark. It's where we begin." The message ended, leaving only static. Marlowe looked out at the stars, tears in her eyes. "Goodbye, Aiden," she whispered. "You showed them what it means to be human." Outside, the night sky shimmered faintly, as if a new light had joined the stars. And somewhere in the endless black, far beyond any known world, a spark ignited again. The universe was watching. And humanity's story had only just begun.